It's Victory Friday, man. Look, Birds win 14-13 over the New England Patriots. Tanner McKee outplays every quarterback on the field. Nakobe Dean has another solid preseason showing. And Joseph Ngata, E.J. Jenkins, man, just balled out, man. We're about to talk about all that. I'm Wesley. You're watching Beast on Broad Street.
Yeah, reporting live from the underworld. Coming from a place that's never been unearthed. How much is your soul? Tell me what it's worth. Do you put your pride on money first?
Hey, man, that was a fun Thursday. That was a fun Thursday night, man. Look, had the Phils on one screen, Birds on the other. I mean, the Phils, man, they were blowing out the Nationals before the Birds even kicked off. So that was a beautiful sight to see. Had the Alec Boehm and Casty home run and Weston Wilson hitting for the cycle, man. That was beautiful. Anyways, as far as the Birds go, though, man, it was another defensive battle. Eagles win 14-13 against the Patriots. And look, man, I'm going to get right into it because let's keep it a beam. Got to keep it a buck, man. Tanner McKee, he's got to be QB2. He's got to be QB2 in my opinion. Like, is it like anyone who was watching the game, their mother, whoever, man, your auntie, grandma, who did not matter, man. Anyone with eyes who was watching the game last night could see that Kenny Pickett is just not on the same level as Tanner McKee right now, which is sad to say. It's sad to say, but we got to keep it real. Like, Tanner McKee at least can make a 10-yard pass down the field and actually looks confident doing it. He's going through his reads better. He just looks more fluid. The offense runs much better when Tanner McKee's on the field. And on top of that, Tanner McKee was just balling out. And like, just generally speaking, man, like, he was making throws. Like, there was some throws he was making to the sidelines that were just dots. And I saw none of that from Kenny Pickett. Like, if it's not a quick pass, Kenny Pickett does not know what to do with the ball. If it's not like an RPO where he can just easily make that like dump off to, you know, whether it's just a bubble to the receiver or a slant across the middle, like, Kenny Pickett does not know what he's doing with the football, man. He just looks slow. Like, he holds on the ball too long, like we've been saying. Like, if it's not a quick pass, he's just sitting there, holds the ball too long. How many times he gets sacked? Like, it was just every play. Every play, I'm watching this dude, man, just get, running for his life, or he's just hold on to the ball. And there was times like he'd just make one read, and then you know he's not even going to throw the ball because he's already just too focused on the pressure that's around him. And it just looks bad, man. Offense looks miserable when Pickett's in the game, and the offense looks manageable, functional, and respectable when Tanner McKee's in the game. So there's really not much, what do you want me to say, man? Tanner McKee should be quarterback too. And I know they just had that press conference. They addressed it weirdly, like it was fast. And like it was just weird how fast they addressed it. But it was like they're trying to talk up Kenny Pickett in the press conference, Nick Sirianni. It's just like, man, we know. We all know, man. Pickett's not it. And if anything, man, we should offload him to another team immediately before it's too late, because just see what you can get for Kenny Pickett. I don't care what you get really in return. Maybe like if you can get any type of draft capital, just offload him, man. Get him out of here, because even quite frankly, like even Will Grier, and like he didn't get a lot of time now. Will Grier has his own issues going on, like just communication wise. Like the offense just kind of looked out of sync when he was in the game. But at least with his throws, like he was decisive with the throws he wanted to make. And he wasn't like scared to stretch the ball down the field a little bit. Not saying like Will Grier was like had this great game or anything, but I don't know, man. He might even look better than Pickett too. So like we gotta get Pickett out of here. That's just where I'm gonna leave that. I've seen enough. I've seen enough with Kenny Pickett, and like I said, like it's not even like you look at the stat sheet, and like you might think Kenny Pickett might be performing well, like on paper throughout this looking at his stats, but eye test tells all, man, and he failed. So that's where I'm at with that. Moving on, man. Like I said, it was kind of hard to evaluate that second team offense, but Will Shipley, he looks good, man. He looks like the real deal. As far as that, I definitely think he's a keeper on this roster right now. That screen pass that he caught, that he took, it was like 20 yards? That looked great, man. He turned nothing into something, man. And what more could you ask for out of a playmaker? So I'll take that. So Will Shipley definitely trending up on my list, and hopefully, we can keep. I want to say we keep 3-4 backs. I'd like to, because we got some, man. Like Barkley, Gainwell, Shipley, Davis Price is kind of like where I'm at with that. I like what I see out of Kendall Milton, and I like what I see out of Lou Nichols, but I just feel like those other four guys, well, Barkley obviously, but like Gainwell, Shipley, and Davis Price, I just feel like I just like them. Those are my favorite running backs, not named Saquon Barkley right now. So see what happens. Maybe they only keep 2 or 3. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see where we go with that. Other than that, because I just want to keep it offense for now. Joseph Ngata, have 5 catches, 88 yards, man. Joseph Ngata balled out, man. Him, EJ Jenkins, who was like, I think got a little banged up, but came back, still looked good, man. Ngata and EJ Jenkins, they took an opportunity and they ran with it, man. And luckily for them, they had McKee throwing them the ball, because they probably would have been, weren't even came up in the stat sheet had it been Pickett throwing them the ball. So, Joseph Ngata, EJ Jenkins, man, they did their thing. They did their thing last night, and I gotta give them their flowers, man. Because other than like Brandon Covey, the John Ross and Johnny Wilson, that whole hype train going on, man, they show it up. So gotta give them their credit. As far as offense go, I want to get to the offensive line. Trevor Keegan looked great last night, and it was kind of like the offensive line had their struggles here and there, but Trevor Keegan and Fred Johnson, they're definitely trending up in my book. Specifically, Trevor Keegan, like he was getting to the second level on some of those run plays, and most of those run plays, because he was in the game the whole time, and he was getting to that second level with ease, really. Like he was making great blocks. I really like what I saw out of Trevor Keegan. Definitely on my watch list, definitely trending up, as well as Fred Johnson, offensive tackle. I just think we need guys that just specifically like depth pieces. I think if I was gonna go there, I'd probably I'd say Keegan, Fred Johnson, and Kennard. Man, I really like those 3 just as far as like young depth pieces go. And we'll see. I really hope Tyler Steen's okay, as we saw him go down in that game. I haven't really got any updates on that. And I really hope he can come back healthy, but it's looking like that competition at right guard might be over now, and it's kind of going how we thought it would go. Becton, it looks like he's going to be that starting right guard going into the season. I mean, until further notice, that's just what it's looking like. But yeah, we still going to need depth, especially if we are going to have injuries on this O-line. So Trevor Keegan, Fred Johnson, really like what I'm seeing out of them. They're definitely trending up. We'll see what happens, but that's kind of where I'm at with the offense. It was kind of a blah day watching the offense, unless, of course, Tanner McKee was in the game. So that's kind of really all I got. As far as defense go, we definitely got a lot to talk about, though, so that's why I kind of saved it for last. That Avonte Maddox interception, man, like that was a sight to see. It was just what's the word I'm looking for? It was just relieving, I guess, to see, because that backup safety position is definitely. It's my dog, man. He's bugging out. Yo, you good? Huffing and puffing over there. Anyways, that Avonte Maddox interception was definitely relieving, just because that backup safety position just, is definitely a question mark for us. And yeah, like he was just in the right play. And granted, like there was good coverage all around on that play. Like Brissett was going through his reads, and just everyone was clamped. Everyone was strapped up. Linebackers did a great job in coverage on that play. And Avonte Maddox gets a nice pick, nice read on the quarterback, and gets an interception in the end zone, was able to take it, 50 yards or something. So that was a great play. It was a great play. Hopefully we can get Avonte Maddox, ready so he can play that backup safety role with less reps. Maybe he'll be able to stay healthy because we all know very injury prone. So that's kind of where I'm at with Avonte Maddox, and it was just nice to have a play by him. So Bradbury, on the other hand, what's to say really? I mean, he's just missing tackles. He made an awful read on that read option. I don't know where he was on that play because he was the read. I don't know what he was doing. Not contained whatsoever. And sure enough, Drake May he could have walked into that end zone. I'm out on Bradbury like everyone else really is, but we'll see what happens with him as far as his roster goes. I still have a feeling they might keep him just as a depth piece, but it's a disappointing story. It's just disappointing. That's all. When I think of James Bradbury, I instantly get I don't know, negative thoughts, negative vibes instantly when I think of James Bradbury. But who I'm not getting negative vibes on was Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff showed flashes early, man. Has some great tackles just early in the game. He didn't play much, but early in the game, man, he made his presence known. There was a screen play to the wide receiver, and he just peeled back, made a great tackle, man. I think they only got a yard, if that. And Bryce Huff just made a great play there. So, and he made another great tackle too. I'm trying to think it was on a run play. It was just he looked good. He looked like a guy that we could rely on as far as defensive end goes. So, or just an outside pass rusher. He looked legit. So, at least this game. So I'm not really worried about Bryce Huff. What I'm more concerned of is how much we're gonna end up relying on Bryce Huff, because that edge, man, like Nolan Smith, I really was hoping to see more. Yeah, he got a sack, but he did get chipped into the sack. Quarterback stepped up. They probably didn't expect him to get chipped into him, and not trying to take that away from Nolan Smith, but if I watch that replay, I don't really see any flashes of greatness or anything that particularly catches my eye other than him just getting chipped into the quarterback and making the sack. So, I mean, Nolan Smith, though, man, I would have just liked to see, I don't know, more. I get it, he relies on his speed to get around that edge, bend that corner, but he's gonna have to get more in his bag, man. It's the NFL. You can't just live on that. He's not gonna be able to just live on just getting around the corner fast. There's fast guy or tackles with that quick first step. A little disappointed there. Jalix Hunt actually looked okay with. He had a couple tackles too in the run game that I thought were pretty impressive. He looks solid. I'd just like to see more from that edge rush. Now, since we're talking edge rushers, somebody who I feel like just aside from that big play at the end of the Ravens preseason game, I just feel like Patrick Johnson, man, just does not get talked about enough or valued enough on this defense. He plays hungry every down. There was a good amount of plays where I just saw him just get winning off the edge with ease on a lot of those snaps. So I'd like to see him get a little bit more I don't know, a little bit more love, but he continues to make plays. I mean, he had another sack. There was a tackle that he had. I remember kept his contained and just made a good play, nice tackle. So I think it was on second down for maybe a 1 yard gain. And I don't know. I like what I'm saying about Patrick Johnson. He's constantly winning at the point of attack, and I don't know, man. That's that. If I was gonna go anyone as far as an edge rusher goes, he as far as a depth piece, I don't know. He kind of he looked better than most of the guys that I saw out there as far as that goes. But Thomas Booker is another guy. I was going through my notes here, man, because there were so many guys who had a pretty solid game, and Thomas Booker was another one. I don't want him to get undervalued too, because he had a pair of sacks And like he was whoever the Patriots right tackle was, like it was like paper, like how he would just rip through that old line, man, especially at the beginning of the game. So I really like what I saw from Thomas Booker. Um, yeah, if anything, as far as that defensive line goes, Thomas Booker, Patrick Johnson really made the impact, really showed flashes last night. So that's good. And I mean, I'm glad that I don't know. I'm glad that these guys who are who you wouldn't expect to really be these like big playmakers on defense. Like I'm glad they're they're playing hungry. Another guy who's playing hungry, Tristan McCollum, man. I want to talk about this, man. Tristan McCollum looks just every play. His motor is just high, like just there was I'm trying to think. He had a couple pass breakups that were just impressive, right? Like he's aggressive. I like that. Hungry. Not afraid to get his nose in a tackle. There was a couple times where he just full tilt. Didn't matter who it was. Didn't matter. He'd finish. He comes in. He makes a tackle and he hits hard, man. And I don't know. I like that about Tristan McCollum. He's definitely kind of buried on a cornerback, like on that cornerback list is pretty deep right now. So I don't know where we fit him in, if we fit him in, but most likely will end up being a practice squad guy or just just a very very deep cornerback piece right there. So we'll see what happens, but I don't know. I just like how he's playing. He's definitely making his presence known. So gotta give him his flowers as well. And last but not least, man. Well, I guess not last, but Kelee Ringo followed up another. He followed up a great game against Baltimore. He followed that up with a pretty decent performance, man. I mean, there was a couple plays where he got beat, but he's just always there. He's always in the plays. Whoever is matched up against him, he makes them have to work. He's not. It's just not. It's no game, man. When you're getting matched up with Kelee Ringo, and these past two games has showed that. He's been showing up in training camp, so he's really making a push, man. Like he's making a push. He wants that. He wants to start. Whether or not he will with Rogers Jr. Kind of getting all those first team reps on that outside cornerback position, I don't know. But Kelee Ringo is definitely making that push, man. Definitely making his presence known. He's far from a slouch, man, as far as we've seen this preseason and training camp. So got to give him credit too, man. Like, yeah, he got beat a couple times. There's that deep ball that probably should have been caught. It was a beautiful ball by Drake May, but like it had to have been a beautiful ball. It's not like he wasn't burnt toast on the play. So Kelee Ringo, man, I like what I've been seeing from him, and the defense as a whole. I've kind of liked what I've seen from him. Aside from that outside pass rush. And it just kind of goes to show, like, the regular season, especially with like first team, I feel like we're really going to have to rely on that interior pass rush with Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, the Milton Williams of the world, like we're going to really, really rely heavily on that pass rush up the middle. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that. I mean, and hopefully we don't have to. Hopefully Bryce Huff isn't just. Hopefully he showed I don't know. Hopefully he can have just a great season, but that's kind of if I had a question mark or concern right now defensively. That's it. Maybe even more so than linebacker because Nakobe Dean had a nice showing, man. Nakobe Dean looks good. And I'm still out on a Kobe team, but like you gotta give him his credit, man. Like these past two preseason games, he showed up for him. Might not look good in training camp, might not look good in these practices, but doesn't look bad in training. He does not look bad in these preseason games. There was a play, James Bradbury just whiffed on a tackle. Trotter missed a tackle. Trotter missed a couple tackles, honestly, but Nakobe Dean just comes back. He was the one who blitzed on that play too, so he wasn't even really in the play. Came back and ended up making a tackle, saved a first down. Made what could have been maybe like a 10, 15-yard gain. It was just a 5-yard gain. because Nakobe Dean had a high motor on, and he's doing his thing, man. Like as far as these preseason games go, he definitely shows up. So I don't know, maybe he's just a guy who needs to be in the game to show what he can do. Maybe he's just not a practice guy. Maybe he's just not like practice hero. I don't know. But as of now, man, I'm still out on Nakobe Dean. Zach Bond still, he was still making some plays. The time that Zach Bond got, he was in the backfield a lot. I did not hate what I saw out of Zach Bond either. So I still think Dean has a little bit of ways to go, but that inside linebacker spot is still kind of up for grabs. I mean, Trotter Jr. I was kind of hoping he'd make more of a splash. Really break out in that preseason game last night, but and he could have. He just missed some tackles. There was one he missed a tackle. He was just in the backfield immediately, just didn't make the tackle. There's a couple of times he just missed a tackle. But, and was the difference between him showing out that last night and just kind of having a whatever night. So I mean, I'm not that down on Trotter Jr., but I was hoping that he'd make the most out of that opportunity last night. And, we still got another week. We got a game against the Vikings coming up. So, we still got a chance. So, but yeah, I mean, Nakobe Dean, really liked what I saw out of him. I mean, as far as linebackers go, I liked what I saw out of Nakobe Dean last night. He was all over the place, getting his nose in the ball. He wasn't getting burnt in pass coverage. So, I don't what more could you have asked for him? Or from him. He was making his tackles when there was a tackle to be made. He was making them. So you got to give him his credit. Hopefully he can follow that up. Into the next game, and we'll see what happens, man. That's kind of that inside linebacker position where I thought was more of a lock. It was going to be Brian White. It might not be. I don't know. So that's definitely something to keep following. Right guard, not so much. And as far as wide receiver 3 goes, still kind of a question mark. It's really hard to evaluate this second team or just any of these receivers when Pickett's throwing them the ball. So next game, I'd like to see less Pickett, more McKee, assuming we don't offload Pickett to another team. I'd like to, but just wishful thinking. Yeah, man, that's all I got. Great. It was I can't say it was a great game. It was just always nice to win. Even if it doesn't count. And, they didn't look awful. It just was a whatever game, really. It was definitely a defensive game. Really liked what I saw out of some of these DBs. It's kind of, and I really like what I saw out of Tanner McKee. Those are kind of my biggest takeaways. Will Shipley looks legit. Trevor Keegan. That's kind of my biggest takeaways of that game. And Ringo had a nice little follow-up from last week. So see what goes on against the Vikings. See how they carry through this week. We got a home game coming up, so maybe some of these guys will just really show out in front of the home fans at the link. And then, moving on, man. After next week, after this Vikings game, you know what time it is. Off to Sao Paulo. So, I can't wait. I'm excited, but it's gonna be after after this Vikings preseason game. It's gonna be a long wait, or what feels like a long wait. So, hey, what are you gonna do though? But go Birds. Glad we got that. Glad we got a win, even though it don't matter. Glad the Phils won mostly, but I liked what we saw out of our defense last night, and definitely like what we saw out of Tanner McKee, and hopefully Tanner McKee gets reps with the second team offense next game, but see what happens. All right. Other than that, thank you for tuning in. I love you guys. Wesley out. Have a great rest of your day. All right.